everyone, Logan from Curated Avalon, and today I will be using two of my favorite inks. I have Rome Burning, which is now called Rome, and Gold and Limonite. These are both Noodler's inks, and this one I believe was new the year before last. I was given it as a Christmas present the year before last, and it was new. I hadn't even known about it, and it was a very pleasant surprise. Rome Burning has been a favorite for a few years now, and again, it has been renamed Rome. It does have a new label, and I've had a few requests to show the differences between these two inks. You know, when you're writing with them, I think that the differences are more subtle, but in a swab, I think it becomes quite apparent just how different they are. The base tones are different. The texture is different. But yeah, we have the Gold and Limonite, the Eureka color of Colorado Mining, and then Rome Burning's old label. I love this label. It's starting to get a little worn from use, but such a fantastic design. And this ink is a little special in that it actually kind of changes colors. Depending on how well you shake it together or just kind of where the ink ends up, it can be a gorgeous brass or a purple. So like on my pen that I use it in quite often, you'll see the purple in the base, in the cap there. Yeah, so it is a little tougher to clean out of pens. I wouldn't say it's necessarily more of a nuisance than other inks I've used. It's just I keep this ink in like the same like two pens all of the time, and so they are more stained than other pens. I don't really bother to clean them that well. The nib and everything, yes, but as far as the rest of the pen, I mean, I have the same ink in it all of the time, so yeah, I'm just not as careful with it. The Gold and Limonite I've used less, but I really do like this ink. It's just not the first one I grab. I tend to grab this one just because it's a little bit more fun with that added purple. But we'll get into both. I'll do spatters, swabs, and writing samples of both of these. And I'm going to try for all three papers here. Might get a little messy. I've got the Flex book here. I threw that in. This is the lined paper. I have my onion skin journal, and this is a Tomaway River paper. And let's see. Yeah. That turned around. All right, so the goal here with the spatters is that maybe the Flex book will catch some of the spatter. We'll see. I'm going to go with the Rome Burning first. And Noodler's ink recommends that you shake their inks very well. I know that's hard to do when it's a fresh bottle. They fill theirs all the way to the top. They want to make sure you get every last drop of ink. And I mean, you can see the ink. It's kind of like a purpley brown. And I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but this is really, the bubbles are very iridescent. And for my pen, you can see got purple, a little bit of purple around that rim that I didn't clean out well. And a little hint of purple in the converter as well. Let's see. Right here, push in. If I can get this to show up. It looks very brown. And this pen is my Thomas Jefferson pen from Relic Pens. One of my all-time favorite nibs. It's a black, I think it's a Yowo now that shoot, hold on a second. Let me get this to focus in. Close that up. Come on. Okay, well, you'll just have to take my word for it. It's a medium. I'm pretty sure it's a Yowo, but now I'm like, I'll need to double check. It's been so long. But this pen was made out of, I believe, an Italian resin, and this piece of wood here came from one of Thomas Jefferson's properties. So this would have been Monticello, since it's the Monticello pen, and he laser engraved the signature and information on there. I love this pen. I bought it a couple years ago. It's like the longest pen that I have. It actually ended up being on the long side for me. It could have been shortened just a touch, but I kind of like it. It's not postable, so I don't have to worry about the cap. It's pretty comfortable. It would have been balanced a touch more being shorter, but I really like it. And I don't know, I just keep this ink in it. I keep the Rome burning ink in it. I love it. It is kind of staining the cap some, so I need to go in and give that a thorough cleaning, but I don't know, I kind of feel like it's meant to be with this pen. So if you can see with the lighting here, this ink starting to kind of show off a little bit of that purple variance. I want to pull this down without knocking anything over. And if you can see this, the ink on the Flex notebook paper, completely different. It is just showing up straight like dirty brass. And this, a little shinier. You can see the purple variances, and down through here with the onion skin, it's just slightly duller. But I love this nib, it's just so smooth. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what quotes he had on here. Got the render unto Caesar. That's give unto Caesar's close enough. I always thought that was quite funny. Brass or cashless. think I'll go up here. I mean, look at that difference. So there we have Rome Burning, showing up very brassy on the Flexbook lined paper. And on the onion skin, it's still very wet. See some of that purple. More brown. And Tomaway River paper. I think this has to win as far as my favorite paper for this ink to be on. It just really shows it off. It's still quite wet. Did go through. And it went through on this one as well. I'm going to let these have some dry time and then come back with the next ink. As a matter of fact, while we're waiting for that to dry, I want to see if I can read all of these without my glasses on and with all these ink spatters. A wise and frugal government, which shall restrain men from injuring one another, shall leave then otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread it has earned. That was Thomas Jefferson. His first inaugural address given at the Capitol Building in D.C., Wednesday, March 4th, 1801. Ooh, this one might be more tricky. I can't quite make it out. Moving on. I've got excess liquidity will reveal the patrician color. He that lives upon hope will die fasting. Buy what thou hast no need of, and before long thou shalt sell thy necessaries. Oh my goodness, is that true? Gotta watch out for that one. Lying rides upon debt's back. He that goes a-borrowing goes a-sorrowing. That's also true. Like, if you ever got a tattoo, that's probably one you should get. Silver, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, whether it be gold, silver, brass, or cashless. The greatest typo in history. The founders apparently meant the Bill of Privileges instead of the Bill of Rights. I'm gonna have to go look this up. So I actually have another bottle unopened that I bought back before they were gone, and I was thinking I was going to get a clean label. The label came like this. So I'm just going to blame it on Nathan. Nathan did it. But anyway, we can read another quote. The powers and privileges possessed by the existing bank are unauthorized by the Constitution, subversive of the rights of the states, and dangerous to the liberties of the people. To acknowledge its force is to admit that the bank ought to be perpetual and be established a privileged order, clothed, bound with great political power, and enjoying immense pecuniary advantages from their connection with the government. Andrew Jackson, veto of legislation chartering the Bank of the United States, 1832. And I'll be right back. I had my delivery person looking at me in the window when I was reading. I got some more notebooks in the mail. I'm gonna dab a little bit of this excess, so maybe we can get this drying a little faster. So this is the onion skin. The purple does show up, but it's coming off as more of a brown, a brassy brown. Tomaway River paper definitely does justice to the brass color. And the Flex notebook usually comes up a little duller, but look at the difference. That is so crazy to me. And even though this isn't quite dry, I'm just gonna flip that paper over. Is that crazy yellow? It should be fine, and we can get going on the next. Well, on the Gold Limonite. So it's going to be a little tighter doing the samples because I don't want to press anything on these pages. And dance around this spot just a little bit so we know what we're dealing with. I think I'm literally just going to draw around it. I don't typically bother to do that, but since we're really trying to get a decent comparison here, we know that that is Rome burning and not the Gold Limonite. Oh, that was a lot. See how it has more of like a swampy look to it? That might not be enough. Let's see. Oh, that's enough. Okay, cool. This color, when I look at the bottle, and then like when I've got spatters like this, it reminds me of like real old school camo. Got that. Now for a swab. And for my pen, I have my Gravitas. This is the White Derlin pen, and you can see it's dyed purple, and that is from using the Rome burning. I've never scrubbed it out. I've like rinsed it, but I've never scrubbed, and I need to. I think that would be a wise idea. This should have a medium nib. Yeah. Okay. If you haven't checked out Gravitas pens, I love his stuff. I've had issues with both of the fountain pens that I've ordered from him just starting well, and I really had to adjust them. I don't know if that was just a fluke, probably so. He pays so much attention to detail with his work. And there are so many of his pens I would love to have, especially some of the more custom pieces that are just so stunning. And he's very innovative as well. The entire pen put together looks like this, and I thought it was supposed to have the Gravitas symbol. Mine does not. It has no branding except on the nib. It's kind of wild. I'm going to shove these over just a touch. But you might see what I say by like the spatters and everything looking so different from like Rome burning. And then once you kind of swab it, it almost looks the same. And then when you write with it, it looks so similar, but they are in fact different. Try not to press on that. That is the one thing that I do really like about doing like single sheets instead of having an ink notebook, is you can get through it a lot faster, but then you have all these loose sheets you can't do anything with. Playing musical notebooks. Oh. So that is the Gold Limonite. We'll leave that to dry, and it's probably going to take a while. So I'm going to grab another paper and play with both of these inks side by side while we're waiting for this to dry. I've got my endless tearaway pad that Pen Lovers Paradise gave me, and I'm glad they did, because I don't think I ever would have tried it otherwise. And I've actually really been enjoying this and enjoying the paper that I bought, the Black Stealth notebook, and that'll be in an upcoming video. I want to try that really badly. So this is starting to dry, looking a little bit more murky than the Rome burning. Whoops. All right. That looks like it's all gonna take a minute to dry, so I'm just gonna set it aside and get to work with this. And see if I can get kind of half of one ink on one and half of the other on the other. I'll swab it. This is the Gold and Limonite. And the inks do tend to show up a little duller on the endless paper. So I have my Thomas Jefferson pen for Rome burning. I always just like hold the cap. I don't know why. You can set the cap down. It's going to be okay. I still smudged it. I'm trying not to smudge it, but I did. Okay. So one of the neat things about the endless paper is it does dry very quickly. Part of that is because it soaks through a little bit. Okay, so I expected for the Rome burning to be a lot more liquidy, more wet, and soak through. It did. The Golden Limonite, though, held out really well. Excuse me. But look at that. So as I said, the endless paper inks tend to show up a little bit more dull, but that still gives you a pretty decent difference. Got the Rome burning, still have some of that gorgeous purple. The Golden Limonite, you do not have that purple undertone. So very subtle. I would love to do a comparison where I use the same pen. That video is going to take a little bit of time though to swap the inks and to make sure it's thoroughly clean. But yeah, that would be fun to do, to like really get using the same pen, seeing really what the difference is. But Rome burning is just a little bit darker, but it's really close. I'm going to take it even a step further and literally just write side by side. Bear in mind that the pen with the Rome burning does lay down a little bit more ink. And also Rome burning is more of a wet ink. I mean, are you seeing what I'm saying by you almost can't tell them apart? And I'm wondering if they were written with the same pen, if you really even could. But they're not the same ink. They're not even close. But they are so similar. So you've got the Rome burning with that hint of purple. And then you've got the golden limonite here. It's just so wild. I love comparing inks and seeing what you can do with them to really push their colors. Oh, and I might as well, since I'm right here with the Gravitas pen. So the finger section, the grip section, is actually all these little threads. It's threaded, and I genuinely thought that that would be uncomfortable, that it would be rough. It's not. I love it. It's nice. It just kind of sets in your hand. It's a nice weight, and I love the texture. I will admit that, like, if I exclusively use this pen and I use it for long writing sessions, I'll have a little bit of skin wear right here, but it's never been a problem, and it's never bothered me. I'm going to check on the gold and limonite, so it's still quite wet. This is the Flexbook paper, quite dark. I mean, that almost looks like the exact same ink instead of that one. It's just so fascinating. Got the onion skin is still wet. I mean, this ink has been the only ink that has me literally second guessing as to whether I wrote down the correct ink or not. Okay, that one actually looks closer. But I know I did. I want to let this dry some more, and then we'll compare both of the inks in the notebooks. Everything is pretty much dry. Some of the spatter is still a little damp. But we have the Tomaway River paper. And this is the Rome burning. Versus the gold and limonite. So much more murky, definitely a darker brown, and without that gold highlight. Onion skin paper, Rome burning, golden limonite. Looks a little closer on the onion skin paper, but still darker brown. And we have the Flexbook, which I'm loving how this is coming up as such a dull brass. That is so neat. It's so different than the other ones. kind of brassy gold, and then kind of a warmer brown. So if I can get all of these to show up on the same page, in the same frame, that would be kind of neat. Let's see what we can do here. We also have the endless paper. So we have Rome burning, definitely dull and brassy, a little bit more of a warmer tone with some of that purple showing up, and then this is the warmest in tone. Moving to the Gold Limonite, definitely getting to a darker brown overall. So the subtle differences are there. I mean, the writing is so similar. Just a little bit more of a brassy gold and a little bit more of a warmer brown overall. And I'm interested with this endless sheet. Okay, so the golden limonite really does not blend. Rome burning looks good. So interesting. It just fascinates me, the similarities. It looks so much alike and so different all at the same time. That doesn't look anything alike. Anyway, I hope that has been a good comparison. Eventually, one day, I would really like to have the same inks and the same pens and really give a really good comparison with using the same pen back and forth. Until then, I think this has shown the subtle differences. We've got more of a light yellow, more of a brassy yellow. This one tends, the golden limonite tends to be a darker brown, even though in writing kind of shows up like a pretty gold. And then the Rome burning is definitely more brassy. I think that's the long and short of it. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know what you think of these inks in the comment section below.